Good morning, everyone. Welcome to Unity of New Westminster's Sunday celebration service. Today, we are celebrating our favorite things as part of our Summer of Sound of Music series. And so you will see that I am wearing pajamas. And the reason is because I'm encouraging everybody to get into their pajamas, because I know that for many people, being cozy in our pajamas is one of our favorite things. It's also a way to celebrate those who are at home watching us, as well as those who are in person. It's a way of remembering that we are all connected, because those who are here in person today are also wearing pajamas. So during the opening song, which is "The Hills Are Alive with the Sound of Music," I encourage you to sing along and go get your pajamas on.
With songs they have sung for 1,000 years. The hills fill my heart with the sound of music. My heart wants to sing every song it hears. My heart wants to beat like the wings of the birds that rise from the lake to the trees. My heart wants to sigh like a chime that flies from a church on a breeze. To laugh like a brook when it trips and falls over stones on its way. To sing through the night like a lark who is learning to pray. I go to the hills when my heart is lonely. I know I will hear what I've heard before. My heart will be blessed with the sound of music, and I'll sing once more.
Welcome back. I am Reverend Rona Segarra, and it is my pleasure to welcome you to our Sunday celebration on behalf of Unity of New Westminster in beautiful British Columbia, Canada. We are having a fun celebration today because we are celebrating all summer long the songs from the Sound of Music. There is wonderful wisdom in the words of the lyrics from the songs in that musical, and that is our summer series. The Unity Movement offers spiritual principles for full and abundant living. We draw on the teachings of Jesus, who we consider our primary way shower and example. And we honor that there is wisdom in faith traditions all over the planet. There is wisdom to be found in song, in story, in poetry. And so we draw on those universal places for wisdom as well. We honor every person's right to choose their own spiritual path, their own life path. All are welcome here. All are worthy here. All are celebrated here. We open our service today in prayer. I gratefully acknowledge that I speak to you on the traditional and unceded territory of the Semiahmoo First Nation. And we give thanks to First Nation peoples everywhere for their custody of this beautiful land. We give thanks that we are able to meet together in this virtual setting at a time when we are unable to meet in person. We give thanks for our connection one with each other. That connection that happens whether we are in each other's physical presence or not. That connection that binds us all together. We acknowledge that there is only one presence, that there is only one power, that power that is understood by many names, many faces, and many paths. And we affirm that regardless of the name, the face, or the path of our understanding, that we are one human family. And it is in that knowledge of our oneness that we send a blessing for love, for peace, for contentment to every being on this planet, to every being, regardless of all the labels that threaten to divide us. We are one. And for this knowledge, for this intention, and for the power that we have to bless, we give thanks. Amen. Have you ever been worried or afraid or hurt? So much so that it feels as if you have nowhere to turn to. Perhaps you've received a difficult diagnosis, or you've lost a job, or a loved one has passed away, or a relationship that you cared about has been splintered. Maybe someone who means something to you has said something to you that hurts, or a relationship which is maybe not splintered is suffering, though, in some way. Well, if any of those things happen to you, you may find that it's difficult to think straight. You may find that you want to run away or hide under the bed or under the blankets, or you find yourself in a place where things just keep going round and round in your head, and there is nothing that you can do to stop thinking about the problem, even though there's nothing you can do about the problem, perhaps. And maybe you just want it all to go away. If that's ever happened to you, and I know that it has, at least somewhat, because it is part of our humanness that we experience these things, then the song and the setting of My Favorite Things actually holds some insight for us. The words and the idea behind My Favorite Things offers insights into a more practical, a more sensible approach to a problem that we might be having. Let's take a look at what we see in this song. It's the third or fourth song in the musical, and what we see is Maria, a young governess who has been sent to take care of 7 children who have been without the presence of a loving mother for several years. At first, the children resist Maria. They play tricks on her. They try to trip her up, all in the goal of trying to get her to go away. They don't want some fake person to be taking care of them. They want somebody who genuinely cares. And so they try to do things to make her go away. And on that very first night that Maria is there is a huge thunderstorm. And one by one, those children who wanted nothing to do with Maria come running into her room looking for protection and comfort. And Maria, in the typical style of a typical movie, a musical, bursts into song and starts singing this song called My Favorite Things. In that song, she suggests that when they are sad, when they are hurt, when they are scared, that instead of focusing on that they shift their focus to their favorite things, with the promise that then they won't feel so bad. And in the movie, we see the children become distracted. We see them almost literally change the channel as they begin to feel appreciation and feel excitement about their favorite things. The storm continues, but the children are no longer absorbed by the fear of the storm. The storm continues, and the children are no longer absorbed by their fear of the storm. That's the key. The reason that this is a lesson for us is that we all know that there are storms that will appear in our lives. I just spoke about a bunch of them, and there are more every day. Storms of small degree and large degree. Times that we are challenged, that we are afraid, that we are triggered, that we are activated, that we feel anxious. And the concern is, when we're in a state of anxiety, we literally cannot think. Our bodies think that we're going to die, that we're in a place of mortal danger when we are afraid. And so our body does what it did thanks to our reptilian brain DNA from thousands of years ago, and it prepares to fight or to flee or to freeze, play dead and pretend that nothing is going to happen in the hopes that things will pass through and over us. What's true is that when those things happen and we respond in this fear way to this fear response of our embedded brain, embedded nature, it's not that simple to remember anything at all. It's as if all of the intelligence that we may have thought that we have, all that we may have carefully planned, all the books that we may have read about how to respond in a crisis, our spiritual hat, all of that, religious feeling of, I know how to deal with crisis, or I know how to deal with anger, or I know how to deal with criticism. all of those books we've read, all of those resolutions we've made, all of that goes out of the window as soon as our reptilian brain, our amygdala, becomes hijacked. The brain does not know how to differentiate between a real life-threatening saber-toothed tiger or the idea of feeling threatened. And so we react to both with that same response, what is called an amygdala hijack. And when we're in that place, we have anxiety, we cannot think, we cannot take care of ourselves, let alone have the capacity to take care of others and to understand where they are coming from. Our entire being is focused on self-preservation. And that is normal. That is natural. In fact, that is to be expected. It means that our body is doing what it has been programmed to do. The problem is, it doesn't always help because we're not facing a saber-toothed tiger. We're facing perhaps something much, much, much smaller and much, much more insignificant. And yet we respond sometimes with a response which is beyond the necessary required to keep us safe and to keep us in a place where we can function. When we focus on the negative, when we allow that fear response to get hold and take hold within us, when we allow our anger, our judgment, all of that to get the better of us, it limits our functioning. And in the end, sometimes our emotional response is greater than the event itself. The thing that we are responding to is small and our response is large. This can lead to more broken relationships, poor decisions, a feeling of paralysis that we don't know what to do. That anxiety can be very uncomfortable and scary. Is there another option? Well, the other option is what Unity considers its third principle. And we only have 5. The third principle is that our experience of life is influenced by the power of our thoughts. You may have heard this phenomenon referred to as the law of attraction, or you may have heard it in words like energy goes where attention flows. It's the idea that much of our experience is created with how we respond with our thoughts. There will be storms, there will be things that go on. That is part of life. Our power lies in how we choose to respond and approach it. That is Unity's third principle, is choosing to respond in a way that doesn't add to the problem. And to realize that our experience is governed in many ways by the power of our thoughts. The goal then is to get to a place where we can respond. So instead of fighting or fleeing or freezing, let us move to a place where we flow with what is. The key isn't to escape the challenges. It is to learn to respond to them in a way that doesn't cause us to lose our intelligence and our equanimity. Our goal is to be responsible response able. And in order to do that, we need to, in that moment of crisis, in that activating moment, what they call the trigger moment, when we are in that place where we can go one way or another, but our brain short circuits, and so it just goes straight for dealing with the saber-toothed tiger, we want to be able to interrupt that circuit, to circuit break it, and calm ourselves down. And the way to do that is found in this story. First, what we see is that the children don't go and hide under the bed. They don't run away. They don't freeze. Instead, they acknowledge that they are scared. And they go and they seek whatever help they can find. Maria in this story represents wisdom. She represents that higher functioning. And so when we are like the children, when we are scared, our goal is to remember to go to the Maria within us, to the wisdom within us. Recognize that we're having a fear reaction. And then with that recognition, go within and find the wisdom within us so that we can calm ourselves down. And how do we do that? Well, there are two parts. One is to recognize that there will be storms. Expect emotion, expect fear, expect upset. Maria in the story doesn't say that the children shouldn't be scared. In fact, rather than even talking about the storm, she gives them other examples of human pain. She does it, granted, she does it with childhood pain, but the lyrics don't say, if the dog bites, if the bee stings, if I'm feeling sad, then I remember my favorite things. What she says is, when the dog bites, when the bee stings, when I'm feeling sad. There's an element of recognition that there will be things that feel uncomfortable for us. It's not a question of if, it's a question of when. And so the first part is to not be too upset when those things happen, because they are a part of life. And then the second part is to simply remember our favorite things. Why is this so powerful? Well, when we remember our favorite things, we slow our heart rate down. This simple advice has been scientifically proven. I've seen some of it with my own eyes because of some work that I've been exposed to that originated from the HeartMath Institute in California. And what the HeartMath Institute has demonstrated is that our heart is the largest regulator in our body. And when we are agitated, our heart races. And it causes all the other systems in our body, including our brain and our breathing and our digestion, all to become agitated too. And then nothing works well because everything is out of sync. Everything is jumbled up. And when we can get our heart rate down, when we can restore our heart to a regular rhythm where it's not all over the place, then all of those other systems, including our brain and our breathing and our digestion, they all follow the heart. And the fastest way to get our heart rate down, you guessed it, it's to feel appreciation. It's to remember our favorite things. That feeling of remembering our favorite things, that those things that bring a smile to our heart and to our face and to our body, will automatically bring us to a place of more calm. And that helps our brain to move to a calmer place. And that means that we can now be in a place where we can respond intelligently to whatever we are facing, so that rather than reacting, we're responding. Now, it pays to have several favorite things in your toolbox, so that if one thing isn't enough to kind of shift you, then you draw on another and another. It's like having a basket full of images that you can pick from whenever you are feeling scared. In the song, there are no fewer than a dozen ideas. And Maria doesn't ask them for theirs. She shares with them how she deals with this, how wisdom deals with fear and triggering and anxiety and anger and uncertainty. She says, raindrops on roses, whiskers on kittens, bright copper kettle, warm woolen mittens. Say that 3 times quickly. Brown paper packages tied up with strings. These are a few of my favorite things. And she goes on to describe more and more of her favorite things. What are your favorite things? In the chat, whether you are watching on live on Facebook or live on Zoom, in the chat, if you feel comfortable sharing, list some of the things that you consider your favorite things. You may find that having lots of ideas will spark ideas for you. And you may find that somebody else's idea is the same as yours. And how wonderful would that be? Because now when you take that idea, you're also taking that person's energy. So that at a time when you are feeling sad or lonely, when you are feeling scared, you have all of these favorite things to pick from that will help your heart get calm. Now, I mentioned that in the heat of the moment, that hair trigger time of choice between response and react, there is a point where all of that great ideas, great strategies, great reading, all goes out of the window and you revert. So how do we interrupt that? First, as I said, is expect. And then know that that is what happens. Just that knowledge alone will help to stretch the time between something coming in and what we choose to do with it. The second is to know what your favorite things are. And to be comfortable with them in the moment means that you probably want to take them out and look at them periodically, maybe every day, every week. Of course, I'm not talking about physically looking at something, but mentally. Close your eyes and once a week, once a day, just feel the things that bring you joy, what lifts you up. I have one favorite thing for me is a picture that I have of David, my son, who is now in his 30s, but when he was a little boy in the bath. And I have this image of him pouring water, and the little droplets are captured in this image, and his smile is as wide as the bathtub. He's just in a place of pure bliss, pouring this water. That is one of my favorite images. It is one of my favorite things. What are some of yours? Take them out periodically, because the more that you take them out, the more that you are familiar with your favorite things, the easier it will be to simply remember your favorite things. That word simply is dynamite. Because in the heat of the moment, it's hard to simply remember our favorite things. Become familiar with them, and that will help to remember them. And so, there will be storms, just as there were storms on the first night that Maria was with the children. Our goal is to recognize when we are feeling stung, when we are feeling bitten, when we are feeling hurt and harmed and sad and scared. And not to deny those feelings, and neither to be consumed by them to the point that we lose our ability to function effectively. We don't deny them, and we don't let them overtake us. That's our goal. So we want to ask ourselves, how can I remain present despite my fear, despite my hurt? What is the most intelligent, wise response for me here? How can I be of, if not necessarily help in the situation, at least a place where I can remain calm in a situation? How can I move to a place where I am more positive, where I'm more coherent, where I'm more able to retain my intelligence and my power? And the best way to do those things, acknowledge that there will be storms. Connect with wisdom. Calm yourself. When the dog bites, when the bee stings, when we're feeling sad, we simply remember our favorite things, and then we won't feel so bad. I bless you.
Raindrops on roses and whiskers on kittens, bright copper kettles and warm woolen mittens, brown paper packages tied up with strings. These are a few of my favorite things. Cream-colored ponies and crisp apple strudels, doorbells and sleigh bells and schnitzel with noodles, wild geese that fly with the moon on their wings. These are a few of my favorite things. Girls in white dresses with blue satin sashes, snowflakes that stay on my nose and eyelashes, silver white winters that melt into springs. These are a few of my favorite things. When the dog bites, when the bee stings, when I'm feeling sad, I simply remember my favorite things, and then I don't feel so bad. Raindrops on roses and whiskers on kittens, bright copper kettles and warm woolen mittens, brown paper packages tied up with strings. These are a few of my favorite things. Cream-colored ponies and crisp apple strudels, doorbells and sleigh bells and schnitzel with noodles, wild geese that fly with the moon on their wings. These are a few of my favorite things. Girls in white dresses with blue satin sashes, snowflakes that stay on my nose and eyelashes, silver white winters that melt into springs. These are a few of my favorite things. When the dog bites, when the bee stings, when I'm feeling sad, I simply remember my favorite things, and then I don't feel so bad.
This week, on Thursday, on July 22nd, we will not be having a prayer service. The following week, our prayer service will be 11 o'clock again on July the 29th. And then starting on August the 2nd, we will shift our prayer day to Mondays at 11. So this week, July 22nd, no prayer service. July 29th, 11 a.m. August the 2nd at 11 o'clock. On Tuesday, July the 20th, you are invited to join on Zoom at 7 o'clock if you are interested in being part of the Labyrinth Medicine Wheel idea that Lyle Dellingham spoke about and will be leading. So this project, which is so exciting, is to create a combination, a fusion of labyrinth and medicine wheel outside in the front yard of our church building so that it's accessible to all. And if you would like to be part of that project, please join us on Zoom at 7 o'clock on July 20th to join Lyle's team and to help with the work and the creation of this really innovative idea. Next week on July the 18th, we will be having in-person service. What we will be doing actually is having a recording which is projected on the screen, but there are no limits to the number of people who are welcome into our sanctuary anymore. So this is good news. And we are asking people to wear masks anyway, just in case there are still some people who are vulnerable in our community. Also on July the 18th, we're going to be investigating my favorite things. And as part of that, I am inviting anyone who comes to the church on the 18th to wear pajamas so that it is something where they are the same as the people who are watching at home. And we will just have some fun with with our service on July the 18th. So if you're coming in person, wear your favorite pajamas. And if you are at home, wear your favorite pajamas, and we'll have some fun next week. July the 18th, my favorite things. And the next in-person service will be on Sunday, August the 1st. So the 1st of the month and the 3rd of the month. So basically July the 18th, August the 1st, August the 15th, and then the first Sunday in September as well. And then we'll take it from there. By then, maybe we'll be able to do every week. But again, we're choosing to go a little slowly, and we are mindful of the resources that we have in terms of people to monitor both our online program, which is not going away, as well as our in-person service. So just for now, until September, the 1st and the 3rd of the month. There are many, many ways to give to our organization, either through credit card online or direct Interac transfers or checks or cash. We are so grateful for the generosity of the contributions that we receive, which support not just our ministry, but also organizations in our own community that do amazing work, and Unity Canada that spreads the message of unity across the country. Thank you for your contributions. I invite you now to hold whatever you feel blessed for in your hands, in your heart. Financial, family, roof over your head, food on the table, just whatever you are feeling blessed with as we sing our blessing song.
I am so blessed. I am so blessed. I am so grateful for all that I have. I am so blessed. I am so blessed. I am so grateful. I am so blessed. I am so blessed. I am so blessed. I am so grateful for all that I have. I am so blessed. I am so blessed. I am so grateful. I am so blessed.
And we come to the end of another service. I thank you for joining us. I hope that you enjoyed your experience with us today. I wish you all a very, very blessed week. Goodbye, everybody.
And let it begin with me. Let there be the moment now. With every step I take, let this be my joyous vow. To take each moment and live each moment in peace eternally. Let there be peace on earth, and let it begin with me.
I am the light of God. I am the love of God. I am the power of God. I am the presence of God. Wherever I am, God is. I am the